Hey, it's Pittsburgh Pat, and I'm here with Jocelyn, and we got a special announcement for you. Jocelyn, what's going on?
Well, I wanted to come on today and talk a little bit about, I don't know if you guys know this, Pat is in charge of the Dungeons and Dragons Club at the Environmental Charter School, ECS. And the PCO at ECS is having a silent auction. And we have some things that we thought would be really interesting to Pat's audience in general and also the kids at ECS. It's more middle school based or high school or adult, not really elementary kids. And we have a hard time reaching out to those kids, but
Yeah.
I have some friends at Wizards of the West Coast, and they have sent us some amazing Magic the Gathering stuff that
Yeah,
we
let's
can offer.
let's get right to it. I'm going to share the screen. I have the link to the site on the screen. So can you see that?
Yes, I can
All
see
right,
that.
great. So here's what is being offered. So let's take a look. So we got Ravnica Clue Edition Magic the Gathering cards. And then tell me about these signatures here.
So we have three signatures. One of them is Aaron Forsythe, who is the VP of Design at Studio X. I don't know if you guys know this, but he is actually from Western Pennsylvania. He went to Pitt.
Wow.
Um, yeah, and I don't actually even know if you know his story. He was a Magic the Gathering world champion on a team, and then just wrote a letter to Wizards at the time that was some suggestions for how to play the game and make it better, and ended up getting a job and working his way all the way up the food chain, so to speak. So
That's
he
pretty
signed one of those
cool.
cards. It is,
So
right?
do you
And he's
do you know him
also just,
personally?
I do. We went to high school together.
Oh, okay, cool. That's pretty
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
It's amazing how
Yeah.
small a
That
world it is, and definitely
isn't
Pittsburgh.
it? And like I also think a lot of times in Pittsburgh we think nobody's gonna get out of here and do something like crazy magical, like be a VP of design at Wizards of the West Coast, but there he is.
That's
We've
so
also got
cool.
one signed by isn't it? By Gavin Verhey. He's a magic designer, and if you watch Good Morning Magic on
Yeah,
YouTube, he's the
yeah.
host of that.
Yeah, even I'm familiar with
And
him. That's great. And then yeah, you said Aaron Forsythe,
And then
and then
Mark Rosewater, he's the
Mark
head
Rosewater.
designer for Magic and hosts the podcast. If you listen to that, Drive to Work. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not an audio learner, so I never listen to podcasts, but
Yeah, I understand. It's cool. Everybody learns a different way, and that's what I'm finding out teaching Dungeons and Dragons. It's a great way to teach kids all kinds of
uh,
stuff.
my my
Cooperative
youngest son, who's
strategy and
7,
storytelling and that sort of stuff. So I'm sorry, your youngest son?
just started Dungeons.
How old?
Exciting times in our house, finally a way to connect. And then I also just wanted to mention, if you're a Magic collector, in those signed cards,
Yeah.
there are a bunch of the Year of the Rabbit cards, which were only released in Asia and hard to find here.
Ah, okay, gotcha. Very cool. Yeah, so the bidding's going to start at $25. My goodness. And
You can
then,
get a steal, right?
yeah, you could, but
Yes.
not after we tell everybody about this. So get your bids in. So we're going to put a link in the description box of this video so that people can just click right on that and come to this page. Is that cool?
That would be amazing.
All
We're
right,
so
awesome.
thankful for you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I just actually discovered trading top card games myself. I've known of Magic. In fact, my wife and I used to have a pottery studio, and a couple of the kids tried to get me to play. And even when I didn't know what I was doing, I said, "You guys gave me a really rotten deck here," and they were like, "Well, yeah, you just got some extras and stuff." I'm like, "I'm not going to be able to win with this," but yeah, there's a Star Wars game that just came out a couple months ago. Actually, not even 2 months ago, and it's a trading card game, and there are rules similar to Magic and that sort of thing. And there's a lot of content on my channel about that. So people who are here to watch that will certainly make the like short jump to the Magic the Gathering stuff. I'm sure that there are people
Sure.
playing
Or maybe they
multiple.
could share it with friends they know who love it.
Yeah, it's
And I was
true.
asked while we were recording this to just let you know how thankful ECS is for you coming in and working with these kids
Oh,
and
it's really nice of you to say. It's a pleasure and it's a privilege. My wife teaches there full time, but it's great to see kind of what she does at work and to get a taste of that as well. And just, like interacting with kids that age. I do also, I'm a dungeon master at a game store near my house. And we do what you call Adventure League, which is just anybody can walk in, don't know anything about Dungeons and Dragons, and play. And so there are a lot of parents that bring their kids to learn how to play so that they can learn how to play the parents. And then the kids are
Oh,
introduced to it. So it's a really nice way to get the family, like you were talking about. It's a great way to bring the family together, you know?
I love that tip.
Hmm.
Maybe you'll see me because I
Okay.
can't play with a 7-year-old if I don't learn. So,
Yeah, it's easy peasy. So I'll drop a little name here. So it's gamemasterspittsburgh.com. So anybody that wants to find me, that's where you can find me. And yeah, we do it every other Thursday and the last Saturday of the month. So it's pretty easy to do. And it's nice. But yeah, I think I find that it's really uh kids learn like kids like to play games, but they can learn while they're playing games at the same time, right? So they can learn a
yes,
lot of different things. There's an
yes.
economic system, there's just working as a team towards a common goal. That's a big deal that I try to emphasize. It's like you're not playing against each other, you're all trying to solve this problem or mystery or conundrum at the same time. And then each of the characters has different aspects that they're better at that maybe the other characters,
Uh,
just like in real life. So
just like it's
yeah,
crazy.
it's a lot about building teams and that sort of thing. But yeah, so this is great. So tell us about what it benefits. You told me it was PCO.
Yes. So most people know that as a PTA, but we call it a
Okay.
parent community organization instead. So all of the money raised from the funds will go to one of really four places. One is something we call mini grants. I'm sure we all know that there's an epidemic of teachers spending their own money on classroom supplies.
Oh
We
yeah.
do a program twice a year where they can basically write a mini grant to the PCO for as little as $50, as much as hundreds of dollars, and we sort through them and try to fund all of them, but when we can't, we have a ranking system about how many kids it will impact or things like
Mhm.
that. Teacher appreciation is another place this will fund things. We try to go in once a month to all four of our campus buildings and do something nice for the teachers, stock a break room or whatever we can
Cool.
afford. Let's put it
Yeah.
that way.
And then
And then community events and classroom supplies.
yeah, I was just there for a talent show, and you could tell like the teachers who organized it and were involved with it did a lot of it like just on their own, and it was really fun, and the kids like really came together. There was some amazing acts. In fact, there was one who was one of my Dungeons and Dragons students who just stood on stage and asked random people in the audience to give him a word, and then he took 8 words and he told a story about it. So like that sort
Oh
of
my God.
ability, right? Could you imagine being an adult and trying to do that? And here's this middle schooler who's
Even like the
unbelievable at it.
confidence of that kid, the confidence, that's amazing.
And that's exactly a type of
Anyway,
thing
we
that D&D can do is teach kids how to
yes.
speak in public, speak to others, make up stories on the fly, and put together information in a logical way, that may be more fun and creative than math class. Not take anything
Oh,
away from math
for
class,
sure.
but
People actually I don't think give enough credit to how important impromptu speaking is as
mhm.
a skill, right? And definitely Dungeons and Dragons can help that because you've got to figure out what you're going to say about your move right on the fly in the version of the person that you are at that point. So, fun fact, I was actually a Future Business Leaders of America state champion at impromptu speaking in my high school days, long, long ago. And
Yeah.
I feel like of all the things I did ever, the impromptu speaking and like getting good at that was the most. Look, I'm talking to you right now with no prep.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's no script here, folks, in case you can't tell. But actually, this is really polished. I mean, it looks like maybe we rehearsed this. But there's one last thing I do want to hit before I forget, and that's ECS. All right. So we've already said it stands for Environmental Charter School. And I
Mhm.
think this is important because there is a real focus on two things. One is environmental awareness and the
Mhm.
other is citizenship. For instance, next Tuesday is election day and school's closed so that
Let's
everybody can
go.
vote. I
And
mean,
I
that's
know at least
amazing.
in 3 of the schools, kids are doing lessons right now. We actually, fun fact, on our auction to talk about citizenship, one of the things we have is you can bid on sitting down. We give you a $50 gift card to a coffee shop and just talking to Summer Lee about politics and the political process. It's not a fundraiser for her. She's just doing it for us
It's great.
because we have an emphasis on citizenship. Maybe you take your kid with you. Maybe you as an adult want to just talk to her about getting more involved or what her views are. And I know at least 3 of the 4 schools this week are having lessons about like the importance of primary elections, which is something like most adults don't even get, right?
Right, exactly. And it's funny, people talk about it, and I say, they say like, oh, well, the primary is already decided, or there isn't this, or there isn't that, and they'll have whatever excuse. And I say, fine, stay home. That means my vote counts even more. So you
Even
know
more.
what? And so once people hear that argument, they're like, wait a minute, what do you mean? Like, here, I'll explain. So that has turned a couple of my friends around, and got them to pay attention to that. But
I love
yeah,
that.
without getting too political, I think this is great though. We hit a lot of things today, and again, I'm gonna flash it on the screen. But like, this is just from an economic standpoint, this is a deal. Like, even if you bid the $120 value, that's
You've
the
got the
value of the cards. That's not the value of the signature, the rarity of like the Year of the Rabbit cards. I mean, and then there are deck boxes here too, which are really nice.
yes.
Yeah. So like there's a
And then I
lot
will
of cool
just
stuff.
say my last shameless marketing plug. There are other things that's in a section called family and games. And there are
Hmm.
other things in there that might be interesting. There's a Lego set where you can build Andy Warhol's Marilyn Monroe all 4 ways with the same set of Legos.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's worth browsing.
That is really cool. Yeah, I was just down at the museum and took a picture on the couch recently. So,
Uh,
all right. Well, it's great talking to you. Is there anything else you want to say to everybody before we go?
just that Pat is awesome and thank you so much.
Oh,
I was worried about finding somebody who could help me get the word out about these ones, and he stepped right up.
yeah, this is great. I love this kind of stuff, and that's exactly the way what I like to do with this show, especially is interface people and get other people to talk to each other. So like, and that's a great thing. So now that the word is out, we're going to get a lot of funding, and it's going to be a lot of fun, and whoever the lucky winner is.
Like, was that the most stay-at-home mom thing I did on this call when I was like, double thumbs
Is that a
up?
stato? I don't know. Yeah. Well, it could have been finger guns, could have been like, high five, virtual high five. So,
Thank you, Pat.
all right. Thanks. We'll see y'all. And don't forget, it'll be in the description box. Thanks.